Welcome back to the AI Coach by Anil Nathu. We're diving deep into a new AI framework. It's called Knowledge Augmented Generation, or KG for short.
Yeah.
Ready to see how this is changing things up in fields like healthcare and law?
Absolutely. KG is all about making AI smarter and way more accurate, especially in those professional fields where it really matters.
Perfect. We're looking at this great article by Anil Nathu. It's on his AI Coach website. He breaks it down in a way that just makes sense. So we're going to unpack all of that for you today. But before we get into the how, can you set the scene for us? What's the problem that KG is created to solve in the first place?
Well, you know AI has come a long way. But the thing is, traditional AI systems, they still struggle with accuracy and logic, especially in fields like healthcare, law, or government. They kind of fall short, when it comes to understanding context, or making multi-step decisions, or applying specific rules.
So existing AI is kind of like a student who memorized a textbook,
Yeah.
but then can't really use that knowledge to solve real problems.
That's a great way to put it. A lot of AI systems use something called RAG, retrieval-augmented generation. It pulls info from databases to answer questions and stuff, but it doesn't really understand what it's retrieving.
Okay, so KAG is trying to bridge that gap.
Yeah.
It's not just an information retrieval tool.
Exactly. KAG is designed to be a reliable partner in solving complex problems.
Okay, I'm with you. So KAG wants to be better, but how? What makes it different?
It's all about the three key components of KAG. We've got knowledge graphs, mutual indexing, and logical reasoning. These things work together to give AI that deeper understanding.
All right, let's break those down. First up, knowledge graphs. What are they all about, and how do they fit into KAG?
Okay, so imagine a knowledge graph like a really structured map, a map of information. Instead of just words on a page, it's organized. It has these entities, things like diseases, laws, people, and it shows the relationships between them.
So it's like instead of just giving AI a random address book, it's giving it a roadmap so it can actually see how things connect.
You got it. The knowledge graph gives AI the context and helps it to reason things out logically.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, what about mutual indexing? What does that do?
Mutual indexing links the knowledge graph to all the unstructured text in documents. It's like building bridges.
So if the knowledge graph says diabetes is linked to high blood sugar, then mutual indexing finds all the documents that mention those things together.
Yes, it's all about creating this network of connections.
Wow, that's really impressive.
Mm.
Okay, so last but not least, how does logical reasoning play into all of this?
Logical reasoning, that's where KG really shines. It uses these special algorithms to break down complex questions into smaller logical steps, like solving a puzzle.
So KG isn't just spitting out information, it's actually thinking through the problem.
Exactly. And it uses all of the information from the knowledge graph and those index documents to figure out the best answer.
I see. This sounds super complex, but I think we're starting to see the big picture here.
And the best part is, all that complexity, it all happens behind the scenes. For the user, it's all about getting more accurate and reliable answers.
I'm with you so far, but all this technical stuff, it's making my head spin a little bit. Can you give us an example, a real-world example of how KAG could be used?
Sure. Let's say you need to navigate some kind of government process, like applying for a permit or something. With KAG, you could just ask an AI assistant a question, like, what are the steps to apply for a building permit in my city? The K system would use its knowledge graph and all those documents and give you a clear step-by-step answer, an answer that's specific to your location and what you need.
That's so much better than trying to figure out all that legal jargon on a website. Any other examples?
Absolutely. Imagine a doctor using KAG to figure out what's wrong with a patient, especially someone with unusual symptoms. KAG could look at their medical history, all the latest research, and give the doctor a list of possibilities, along with the evidence to support them.
So it can help doctors make better decisions.
Yeah.
This is pretty amazing stuff. I can definitely see why people are excited about KAG.
And we're really just scratching the surface here. There's so much more to explore with KAG.
That's a great transition, because we're going to dive deeper into KAG in part 2. Join us next time as we explore this groundbreaking technology right here on the AI Coach by Anil Nathu. Welcome back to the deep dive on the AI Coach by Anil Nathu. In part 1, we covered the basics of Knowledge Augmented Generation, or KAG. So now,
Let's go deeper into what makes KAG such a game changer.
yeah, one of the most exciting things about KAG is how it could totally change how we use AI, especially in professional settings. We're not just talking about small improvements here. This is a whole new level of accuracy and reliability.
Okay, you've got my attention. So let's break it down. We talked about the three key parts of KAG: Knowledge graphs, mutual indexing, and logical reasoning. What makes them so powerful? Let's start with knowledge graphs.
So knowledge graphs are really important because they provide that structure that's missing in traditional AI.
It's not just dumping info into the system, we're actually organizing it in a way that mirrors how knowledge works in the real world.
So it's like
Agree.
the difference between having a messy toolbox and a well-organized workshop.
Exactly. With knowledge graphs, AI can understand not just the what, but the how and the why behind the information.
Interesting. So how do you actually build these knowledge graphs? It sounds like a lot of work.
Oh, it is. It takes real expertise. Experts in the field work closely with data scientists to structure all that information. They have to identify the key entities and all the relationships between them.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. In a medical knowledge graph, diabetes might be an entity, and then causes would be the relationship, linking it to high blood sugar.
Oh, okay. So it's like creating this super detailed map.
Yeah, like a map of a city with all the streets and landmarks labeled and connected.
Makes sense. Okay, so let's talk about mutual indexing. Remind me how that works again.
Right. Mutual indexing is what connects those knowledge graphs to all the unstructured information out there, like tons of text documents and research papers.
It's like a bridge between organized knowledge
Yeah,
and messy real-world data.
exactly. And KAG uses some pretty smart techniques to create those bridges. Remember how we talked about entities and relationships in those graphs?
Yeah.
Well, KAG can actually find those same things within all those documents.
Even if they're written in different ways.
Yeah. So even if a medical document says diabetes and elevated blood glucose levels, KAG knows that it's basically the same as diabetes and high blood sugar in the knowledge graph.
Wow, so it's making all these connections.
Yeah, it creates a web that links everything together.
That's really cool. Now, for the part I'm really interested in, logical reasoning. How does KAG use all of this information to actually think through a problem?
Logical reasoning is at the heart of KAG. It's what takes AI beyond just retrieving information. Now it can actually reason, kind of like a human expert.
Can you give us an example?
Okay, let's say we have a lawyer, and they're using a KAG system to do research for a case. They're trying to figure out if a company did something that violates antitrust laws.
Sounds complicated.
It is, but with KAG, the AI can look at all the relevant laws, court decisions, scholarly articles, to figure out what's important, and then using logical reasoning, it can decide if what the company did was actually a violation.
So it's not just giving the lawyer a ton of documents.
Nope, it's giving them an informed opinion.
I see.
That's the power of KAG, helping humans to make better decisions, especially in those really important fields.
This is incredible, but I have to ask, are there any limitations to KAG? Is it really a perfect solution?
Well, like any technology, there are challenges. Building and maintaining those knowledge graphs is a big one. It takes a lot of work from human experts to make sure they're accurate and up to date.
So you can't just plug it in and go?
Not quite, but I think the benefits outweigh the challenges. This could be a huge change in how AI can help us make important decisions.
What about the role of human experts? Are they going to be replaced by these KG systems?
Not at all. KGs is here to help humans, not replace them. Think of it like a powerful tool.
Got it.
A tool that experts can use to do even better work.
So it's all about humans and AI working together.
Exactly.
This has been a fascinating discussion. We've really gotten into the technical side of KG, but I'm curious, how is it actually being used?
That's what we'll be looking at in part 3. Some real-world examples of KG in action. Coming up next on The AI Coach by Anil Nathu.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive on The AI Coach by Anil Nathu. In parts 1 and 2, we really dug into how Knowledge Augmented Generation works, or KAG for short. And now it's time for the really interesting part, seeing it in action.
I know, it's really exciting to see KG's potential, especially how it can change so many different fields.
Absolutely. So in the AI Coach article, Anil Nathu talks about e-government and e-health as two areas where KAG is already being used. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Definitely. Let's start with e-government. Imagine you need to find some information about a local regulation or something. We all know how frustrating that can be.
Oh, yeah. It's like hours spent clicking through those government websites.
Yeah.
And you're still not even sure if you found the right info.
Exactly. But with KAG, it's totally different. You could just ask a question in plain language, something like, can I build a fence this high on my property? And the system would understand. It uses its knowledge graph and all those documents and gives you a clear answer. It might even tell you the specific rule.
Wow, that would be amazing. So much easier for people to understand.
Right. And it would make the government so much more transparent.
I love it. What about e-health? How is KAG being used there?
Okay, so imagine a doctor. They're working on a tough case. KAG can analyze the patient's whole medical history, their symptoms, test results, everything. And then it cross-references that with the latest research to suggest potential diagnoses and even treatment options.
It's like having an entire team of specialists available, right there at your
Yeah.
fingertips.
Exactly. And it's not just about being faster, it's about making sure things aren't missed and that diagnoses are accurate.
That's incredible. Are there any other areas where KAG is being used?
Oh, yeah. There are a bunch. It's being used for legal research to help lawyers find relevant laws and cases. Financial institutions are using it to figure out risk and catch fraud. And it's even being explored in scientific research.
So it really does seem like the possibilities are endless.
I think so. As KGIG's even better, we'll see even more ways to use it.
I'm excited to see what the future holds for this tech. So for our listeners who are just learning about KAG, what's the one thing they should take away from this conversation?
The most important thing to understand about KAG is that it's a totally new way of thinking about AI. It's not just about getting information anymore. AI can actually augment human intelligence, help us solve really complex problems, and make better decisions in all parts of our lives.
It really shows you how powerful KAG can be.
Yeah,
Well, this has been a fantastic discussion. Thank you so much for breaking down KAG for us.
it was my pleasure.
And thank you for joining us today. Make sure to visit the AI Coach website for more AI insights from Anil Natu. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.